All right, Drew from Vets Talkin. Today we're at the AmFest TPUSA, having a great time. It's day 2. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell me about what you got going on these days.
Yeah, so my name is Priya Patel. I work for an investment firm called Azoria, and we actually just launched about 2 weeks ago out at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. And we're really excited to launch our first ETF in the end of Q1 of 2025. And we're essentially going to be taking all the companies that are in the S&P 500 and excluding the ones that don't hire based off of merit.
S&P 500, top 500 earning
companies.
And it moves up and down. Of course, some go in and out.
Absolutely.
And you're looking for an alternative to that?
Yeah. So we're hoping to provide an alternative to, all Americans, really, because people from so many different backgrounds invest in the S&P. Your grocer at the local corner store, or your multi-billion-dollar businessman. We all invest in the S&P. It's what we all fall back on.
We got 401ks, IRAs. In the military, we have TSP.
Yep.
So it's only a couple. You don't really get to pick what you want.
Yeah.
But after service, you can roll that over to an IRA and then actually pick where you want it to go.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of these companies we've identified about 3 dozen of them that hire based off of like DEI and BIPOC. And unfortunately, that's not a recipe for success, right? Hiring based off of merit, based off of skill and ability and performance is gonna help you get the best returns for your company and your stockholders, and also for your employees. And so many of these companies just aren't doing that, and unfortunately, their returns, the numbers are backing that theory. And so we think that we're going to be much more profitable than the S&P 500 itself, and yeah, we're excited to provide Americans and veterans and people from all backgrounds alike that alternative.
Yeah, ETF indexes. I'm learning more and more about this stuff as I get older and do more adulting.
You and me both.
Post-service. Yeah, well, it's changing all the time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the average person should understand this basic stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's interesting. And then you find out with all insider trading or politicians that could do it. And then there's actually Nancy Pelosi, people mirror her stuff and then do pretty well. So it's give us all the opportunity to kind of succeed with investments.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's so interesting how the political bureaucracies kind of manipulate all those industries to their benefit and really at the detriment of the American people, right?
Yeah.
It's so beyond me, and these are the people that are supposed to be representing us in the government, and yeah.
And they make it seem complicated, but it's less complicated than it actually is. If you understand the basics about indexes, copying over to what I heard is what do you buy normally? Where do you go on a 24 hours? You go to Starbucks, whatever, invest in that, or Apple. Learn how dividends work.
Well, and Starbucks is one of the big companies that we're targeting. We announced them at our launch at Mar-a-Lago a few weeks ago, and we're really trying to hone in on them because they're one of the companies that are hiring off of these DEI policies and not based off of merit. And I really don't understand what your skin color or your gender has to do with you making a good cup of coffee. And I think a lot of people that frequent Starbucks, because it's a beloved American brand, everyone knows Starbucks. I don't know a single person that hasn't been to a Starbucks, right? But I think we've all seen the ramifications as far as the drop of quality and customer service goes, especially at establishments like Starbucks. Waiting 15 minutes for a cup of black coffee is kind of pathetic.
Yeah, for $10, and now they're asking for tips and flipping around and not really getting service. What am I tipping for?
Exactly. I'm you don't even make eye contact with me or ask me how my day is going, and you expect me to give you a 20-25% tip on a cup of coffee that you are supposed to be making by your job description.
Or you go through the drive-through and you're tipping before you get service.
Exactly. I'm tipping culture is another thing that I have a little bit of a quarrel with
I'm trying to
myself.
understand that too. It's who do I tip, who do I not tip now? Some people say don't tip on certain things that I used to do it for. And so it's I don't know.
It's become so normalized and expected, and it's a gratuity for a reason, right? I'm giving you a token of my gratitude for your exceptional service.
Above and beyond. I was a server bartender when I was a teenager. And and the women made a lot more, and that's fine. You know, we all have different things. So that just kind of made me up my game and be more personal.
Exactly.
Ask about what they were doing that night. Were they going to a movie? You know, stuff like that. And I was able to, based on merit, you know, make my own living there.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody talks about the wage gap between servers and bartenders. And
oh yeah, I'm sure.
But that's fine. Every industry is completely different.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to coffee, it opens the door for podcasters. I know more people are doing their own coffee.
Yeah.
Drop ship, you know, things like that. And,
it does, and that's the beauty of the free market, right? We're able to have competition, like, and I think that's an amazing thing. But you know, again, with Starbucks, it's such a beloved American brand, and you know, it's a company that we all want to see succeed, right? Yep. I don't think anybody's like, oh, I want to see all these companies fail. No, rather, we would love for them to turn back on these DEI woke policies and go back to hiring based off of merit. You know, hire the best and the brightest for these positions, and not only is your company going to be far more successful, your employees are going to be happier. I guarantee you the workplace is going to be a far more peaceful and happy and energetic place to be in if you have employees that are there to work hard and try their best. And you also overcast all of these, you know, minority groups of people where, you know, coworkers, employees, customers might be overlooking them simply because they check one of those minority boxes, and you question whether they actually did get the job, whether like for their abilities and not simply because they're a checkbox on a DEI requirement.
Yeah, like would you want to be known as a DEI hire as being a woman?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, myself, I'm the daughter of an immigrant. My father moved here when he was a teenager, and I know myself, and you know, our CEO James is also the son of an immigrant, and my dad, myself, him, and his mom would all be appalled if we found out that any one of us was hired based off of our gender or our skin color, right? I want to know that I'm succeeding in this world due to my own abilities and my hard work.
Probably sleep better at night.
Absolutely, and I'm probably going to be more successful for it.
Pass on the story to your kids, your grandkids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, we're really excited to be able to give Americans an alternative to it, and we're hoping that we can enact change in a lot of these companies. I think we're starting to see a shift in the culture, especially with President Trump's historic victory last month. I think there's been a shift in the culture, and people are starting to turn back on these DEI and woke ways in these companies. But we still have a long way to go, and these companies that are excluded from the fund, like I said, we have about 3 dozen that we've identified that have either soft or hard quotas for DEI and hiring and promoting, and we're excluding them from the fund during our launch. But if they publicly and enact change and go back on these DEI ways and start hiring based off of merit again, they can absolutely work their way back into the fund, and that's our goal. We want all of them to do that, and we think that stockholder shares are going to go up, and we're going to outperform the S&P because of that. And the companies that decide to turn back onto meritocracy and prioritizing that are going to see benefits as well as far as their performance in the company.
Yeah, we were talking about Disney and everything that they're doing. Because I'm into pop culture and MCU same. And stuff like that. But then I learned about the business side too, and then the changing of the CEOs.
Absolutely.
And it's affecting merit. Or excuse me, it's affecting quality.
Yeah.
So without the merit, and just be like, okay, come out of college with your communications degree or whatever it is, journalism, and get a job right away, and then now you're a writer on a show or a movie.
Yes.
Like the track record was it was making $1 billion, and now these $1 billion movies are going to making less than the budget.
Yeah.
And the budget's not what they say it is.
Yeah.
You know, and so you could tell that it had a guaranteed audience. And now they're messing with the formula, and then it's not getting the results.
Yeah, and guess what? Americans generally don't want you to be pushing an agenda on them, whether that be through the coffee that they're buying or the movie that they're consuming, right?
Yep.
And I think probably the vast majority of Americans, and I think we're seeing this with the, again, historic landslide and victory that President Trump got last month, that Americans are just sick and tired of it, right? We're sick and tired of the woke BS. We don't want it anymore. We just want normalcy, you know? And yeah, like you said,
it's a fluffy idea that makes people feel good for a moment.
And it's really,
it's not sustainable.
Yeah, well, and like we were kind of mentioning before we started, it's crazy that these companies or these politicians believe that diversity has to somehow be curated, right? If we simply hire based off of merit, you're going to get people from so many diverse backgrounds, whether that be upbringing, skin color, sex, I don't care. It's
it'll show in conversation or in the quality of work.
Exactly.
Because going into basic training, I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, a bay full of 60 guys from all over the country, different regions. And that's the thing, people, see Americans, they think one American looks like everybody, but no, it's across all regions, time zones, Alaska, Hawaii, and when we were trying to get things done in the military and on missions, people brought their different experiences.
Absolutely.
And they're like, I think I could do, I've done something similar to this. Let me introduce this thing. And then you run with that, and it makes the whole mission, the operation, even better.
Well, and you collaborate with each other.
Yes.
And utilize each of your expertise to work together for something greater and bigger and more beautiful, right? And that's how we achieve greatness in this country. Our diversity, because we are a massive melting pot, it is a beautiful thing, but only when we come together under the umbrella of our love for this country and wanting to work hard and help it succeed and flourish.
And it will show in the results.
Exactly.
That's always the proof thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Eventually, it's going to show somewhere.
Yeah.
And if the positive thing, you continue that. After military Army missions, we do an AAR, after action review. So it's like, what was planned? What was supposed to happen? What actually happened? And these are just facts. And then it's like, what went well? What could it improve?
Yeah.
And if you go down that line, you'll analyze what exactly you want to continue and what you want to pass on.
Absolutely.
And you can experiment here or there and try new stuff, but you got to go with what worked before, because people's lives are on the line.
And really, meritocracy is the American dream, right? We're the land of equal opportunity, not the land of equal outcome. Your outcome is going to be determined based off of your ability and how hard you work in this world and what you're aiming to achieve, right? And it just seems like these companies and these politicians that are pushing for these policies are trying to get Americans to just flatline.
Where do you think that comes from? I would say responsibility. Like taking on responsibility and stuff like that, and you build character, pay your dues over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a lot of it stems from, all of the origins of the welfare state. This idea that we have to overcompensate for our ills of the past, right? And let's be real. I mean, I don't know anybody that is a descendant of a slave personally in this country. I know that there are some, but nobody is alive today that was a slave, right? And we're all equal under the eyes of the law and God, honestly. And I don't understand how we need to punish people for not having done anything, racist or wrong in that sense, simply for traits that they cannot change or they didn't choose, and exclude and punish those that just simply don't check a box,
Yeah.
And I think that's very wrong, and I think people are waking up to that, and I think everyone deserves the opportunity to prove themselves without the immutable traits that we have no control over.
Yeah, and it's having a plan. Be like, okay, here's what I want to go after. Here's the job. Here's the company. Here's the life that I want to have, and then figure out how to make that work.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be easy, and you're going to stumble, and it's going to be awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's how you carve out, marvel.
Absolutely.
Marvel,
you aim at a goal and you work hard to achieve that. And I think there's a huge culture, like you were saying, a lack of initiative in our country, and unfortunately people just kind of think they're going to be able to cruise on by and life isn't really going to be hard, and if it is hard then you're doing something wrong. It's like, no, our ancestors realized that life is incredibly difficult, incredibly trying. You're not going to be happy most of the time. There's a difference between being content and happy. Happiness is a state of being for a very small amount of time. When something happens and it brings you joy, right?
Yeah, I heard happiness is like in between two tough times, where you can take a break and
like you get. I think the best way to like view happiness, and we like most frequently see happiness, is when we do achieve those goals, whether they be small or large, right? You worked hard to get to somewhere and you're seeing the fruits of your labor. That's a time to be happy and joyful about that. Because I worked hard to get here and I'm now seeing all the things that I helped come to fruition, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I don't know how much you know about my story. I was in the military going to grad school and I had a big sales role. I didn't think I was at the top of my game. I thought I was still climbing up this mountain.
Yeah.
And then the COVID thing comes and they said I got to get this get that, and I go into complete paralysis.
Oh my gosh.
And so, got out of the military and I was stuck in the hospital for 6 months, paralyzed. What is my life going to be like now? And then I was standing there looking at ceiling tiles, be like, this is not where my story ends.
Yeah.
And I started making my business plan, just ideas on the ceiling tiles above because I couldn't move. And so it's like, I'm going to go after this with whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And then see what's possible.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm so sorry you went through all that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So awful.
And so and then going back to the accountability stuff, like it'd be nice to, like, I'm not expecting the world to bow down to what happened to me, but I'm like, hey, how about this doesn't happen to anybody else again?
Well, right,
you know?
And like, it's such a beautiful story, but you really at that point in time, it's like, that is one of the points that people get to in their life where it's like, why do I try? Like, what do I have to live for? It's like, no, you find something to live for and you find something to work for.
Well, I'm glad it happened to you. And I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, no, it's a compliment because we wouldn't be able to survive what you've been through and keep going.
It shows.
I'm like, thank you. But it's not easy. But
Absolutely.
I'm learning it's worth it.
It's a test of your character and your strength and clearly you overcame all of that. Absolutely, it's not. But
so
that's
what's
amazing.
on your 2025 bingo card? What does the next year look like?
Wow. Well,
what do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to see a lot of really phenomenal changes with President Trump coming back into office and his new cabinet that hopefully everybody is gonna pass and. I
Priya
think
Patel looks like he's doing a great job.
Yes.
And he's got some good plans.
Yes, I know. Everyone asks if we're related.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He's a great guy.
I know. He seems lovely, and I would love to say that we're related, but alas, not that I'm aware of.
Sure.
But no, I think the cabinet picks have just been phenomenal so far, and really, really excited to see what this up and coming administration has to offer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of movies, music, shows are you into right now?
Oh, wow. I'm really horrible with TV shows, admittedly so. And yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of, the only modern music that I personally really listen to is probably country music for the most part. Love country. Chris Stapleton and like Lainey Wilson are some of my favorites.
He's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, I love the classics too. Like Loretta, I can't speak English, my goodness. Loretta Lynn is probably one of my favorites of all time.
Okay.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, rock on the gym playlist. I got to keep that going. But yeah, country is awesome. I've been in the Jason Aldean kind of stuff right now. Chris Stapleton's awesome in concert.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's phenomenal. I saw him, I believe, in July. This year.
Okay.
And he's so incredible. Him and his wife are just amazing. Yeah. What a beautiful couple
Put on an amazing show.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You just got to figure out where your life is taking you.
Exactly.
And then be the best that you can. And I used to hear like speakers talk about this stuff and be like, oh yeah, it's just the same. But until you live that and you have no other option, that's what you're going after.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to settle for the things that you don't want, or just a desk job, or working that just 9 to 5. Or some people, that's great, and if they just want to be there, but if not, go after whatever you want.
Absolutely. I was just about to say, like, I know that it's not everyone's proclivity to go out there and try and change the world or save the world, but I think there's a beautiful thing in trying to uplift and better the people around you, whether that be your immediate family or your entire community, right?
Yeah.
And I think not only is that going to help uplift those people that you're trying to help take along that upward trajectory with you, but I think you're going to be a much more fulfilled and happy person because of it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing with Vets Talking. We try to give a voice to people that are starting nonprofits, starting their own business.
So incredible what you guys are doing.
What else? Discovering trades. So a lot of guys get into either woodworking, metal shop, whatever the case is. You can do anything from your house now.
Yeah.
And so during the COVID lockdowns, people were just stuck inside, and that's
Absolutely.
not a good place for some people that have been through some stuff.
100%.
So being able to get online, talk about video games, music, movies, or just, anything that's going on.
No, it's incredible, and God bless you guys for the work that you guys are doing. We need to help vets as much as we possibly can in this country, and
and when I hear help, it's not the handouts.
Exactly.
It's give me an opportunity.
Exactly.
Introduce me to somebody. Here's my goals. What can you do to get me at least into a chair?
Exactly.
And then I'll prove myself.
Well, because the way that I view it, and I think throughout time, it's kind of shown this over and over again. These handouts, they help for only a short period of time, but they're a recipe, an incentive for complacency.
Yep.
So, if you're stuck in a rut and people are just kind of helping you get by, why, and you're able to just go along on your merry way, you don't have to try or do anything to get those handouts, why would you try, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the merit to simply say, you know what, I don't want to rely on people for the rest of my life. A lot of people are just like, this is kind of nice, this is kind of cushy, I'm just going to stay here. And unfortunately, taxpayers bear the burden of that, and it shouldn't be on the taxpayers to pay for that.
Eventually run out of other people's money.
Exactly. And a lot of the times we're funding and giving these handouts to people that truly don't deserve it, and the people that do deserve it, like veterans, don't get the benefits that they deserve and earned, frankly.
Yeah, excellent. Well, where can people find you?
I am on X and Instagram. It is my first name followed with 2 E's on.
Can you spell that out?
Yeah, absolutely. PRIYAEE. And then on X, there's just a underscore at the end of it. But and then I hope everyone seeks out Azoria Partners. Again, we're launching our ETF at the end of Q1 in 2025, so in March, and we're really excited about that.
Well, thanks for sitting down. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having
We'll fist bump.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
I love it.